people like Lebanon and Daniel Murad taking a lunge down the inside and just getting it wrong, and potentially getting away with it one time. Anybody else may not be quite so lucky if they were so in that position.
So Faraz Fawzi, he is renowned for his abilities in the wet weather, and working with new engineer Alan Mugglestone, they really came up with a fantastic setup for the sprint race, and you can look into his eyes as well. They've got the clear visors. Some actually are running the yellow visors to try and increase the contrast, but great view of Faraz Fawzi as he searches around looking for where there might be grip and where to avoid the puddles.
Yeah, so they're just coming through turn 10, and we know on the outside to the right of the picture that earlier in the morning in a support race got covered in oil, and that's what took out a number of the cars later in the sprint race. So even the Malaysian crew very apprehensive, waiting for the start of this race, waiting for the lights and the safety car to go out. Still on as we come just about halfway around the lap out of turn 11, making the way through the curve that is turn 12, and then the drop down into the downhill braking zone into turns 13 and 14. This is where we saw that wonderful attempt and then success by young Earl Bamber for New Zealand and the much more experienced Jerome Blakemolin. Lights out.
Yeah, lights are off on the safety car, and that means they will be going racing when they come around the final couple of turns. They're heading up towards that area now. Fawzi getting a little bit of wheel spin on purpose, trying to get those tyres up to temperature. What's the third car in the line? That's Team France. He was fastest in the sprint race, but he started back in 11th, so he had to work his way forwards. He could be a major threat. Coming through Harry Lyondike curve now, building up some speed, and they will come out of the final turn and start the feature race here at Zandvoort in pretty wet conditions. Just look at the spray, but we're racing, and it's Malaysia that leads, and New Zealand immediately having to defend to the inside as France taking a little look down there, but deciding to come out of it and follow New Zealand through the first turn.
Fortunately, the line of cars sufficiently spread out to not have too much trouble into turn 1. Everybody seemingly getting down into the braking zone and around the tires on Herfman. Oh, and a wobble, a big wobble for Netherlands going into turn 3.
That's how treacherous the conditions are, and it's Jeroen Blakemolin looking for some grip as he comes through Hoekenholz. That's at the back of the paddock area. Now they accelerate out through these sweeping corners and trying to make a move there. USA, by the looks of things, Charlie Kimball, but New Zealand sitting in second place and under pressure from France, there's no doubt about it. But just look at that spray.
I mean, those are diabolical conditions. You can see from the camera, and the camera highlights the level of light that you've got, but what it doesn't do is tell you what it's like sitting in a car. Look right under the rear wing of the New Zealand car. Team France almost having to pull out to the left to avoid contact under braking into turn 9, but now coming up the inside. Can he get it done? He tried to do this with Switzerland earlier in the sprint race, but no way from Earl Bamber.
Did you see the puddle the French car went through? It absolutely threw the water up, and Duval really lost some time as a result.
Got a yellow flag out at turn 6 it is. So somebody may have gone off at turn 6 on the way out into the country.
So Duval lost time as a result of that. Look at them power boating their way around this track. Blakemolin now into, well, I'd say the slipstream, but it's just into a water shower more than anything else. Switzerland following, then South Africa behind, then Italy, and then Lebanon chasing. Portugal in the green and red colours. China followed through. Ireland there has got past Australia and gained some places. Monaco coming through, and then the others towards the back with Korea there. Just taking a look back. What can we find in the gloom here?
Oh, there we are. Team USA. Charlie Kimball up at, in fact, is up at turn 9, so he managed to spin the car for the USA. The entire field comes by. He's looking into their eyes. They're looking into his. He's got to wait. And Michael Andretti, well, that'll be disappointment for Michael, waiting in the pits to see maybe something a little bit better than the 8th place finish that they got in the sprint race.
I think France has got past New Zealand. Yes, France has taken second place now. So up into second place, Loic Duval. Now, can he go chasing after Malaysia? We saw how quick he was. Ireland, meanwhile, trying to get past China. Adam Carroll in the Irish car on the inside. The green colour scheme shining through this murk. Oh, and Hopinton's lost in it for the second time today.
And that's up at, again, turn 3, and just illustrates how slippery it is. Didn't appear to do anything wrong, but just going into the corner, turning the wheel, probably still on the brakes, and the imbalance in the car just saw him slide round. Now we're going to have a localised yellow for sure, but whether he can keep the car going, whether he got his fingers onto the hand clutch. This car has got no clutch pedal. You've got to grab the 2 clutch levers, one on either side of the steering wheel, and I don't think that that's the case. I think Hopinton has lost the engine.
New Zealand under pressure now from the Netherlands as well. Jeroen Blakemolin trying to use his extensive track knowledge to his advantage. These two, of course, had that wonderful dice earlier in the sprint race, and now it looks as though Netherlands might just have the edge. But just look at that spray that they're throwing up. Take a little look back. This was France passing New Zealand.
Yeah, very straightforward pass. Got the run off turn 16, picked up whatever aerodynamic drag or slipstream there was, and easily gets past. This is going back to China just a moment ago into turn 3, and the car, just the back end just gets away. Probably just that little bit too quick on the point of turning in, and Ireland find themselves the beneficiaries, and they are now up to 11th place.
China rejoins. At least he's back into the race, and I tell you what, as long as you can stay on the lead lap in this kind of conditions, you could still produce a result out of nowhere. The important thing is to keep going. Meanwhile, France definitely getting closer to Malaysia. Malaysia leading, Faraz Fawzi with a little bit of an advantage, but France getting closer.
He was closer by 1.4 seconds.
Netherlands round the outside of New Zealand, and that's for third, and Jeroen Bleekemolen gets New Zealand back from what happened earlier on, and there's some response from the crowd who have sat here in pouring rain waiting to see what will happen, and now Bleekemolen is producing some smiles again.
Well, the Netherlands team very happy. Robert Doornbos is here for the Netherlands team, and he is looking forward to getting his outing, which we understand may well take place in China in 1 month's time. But look, Jeroen Bleekemolen able to do something which he couldn't do in similar conditions in the sprint race. That's attack, and he's right now attacking. He's looking to find a way to close down the gap to France in second place. Still the quickest car on the racetrack, but this lap from the Netherlands may well be the quickest lap with 36 to go.
Well, you've got to judge how hard to attack. Yes, Switzerland in very early. Now, what's going on here? There must be a problem for Neil Yarni. Has he had an incident? Has there something else gone wrong? He pulls into the pit box. They weren't expecting him, of course, at this early stage in the race. Taking a quick look around, there's a shake of the head from Neil. Oh, it's not looking good for the reigning title holders. And off is Ireland! Again, John. Ireland in trouble.
And this time they're not going to get out of the gravel, and Adam Carroll is beached. That car will have to be pulled clear by, and what a disappointment. Ireland put so much into this, so confident and optimistic when they came here. They thought they could get at least one win, and didn't even start in effect the sprint race, and now within the space of 4 laps are out in effect of the feature race.
France looking good still in second place. Any work going on around the Swiss car? Not that I can see. They're going to fire it up and try and send him out again. Let's see whether they're going to continue. Looks as though he's got problems changing gear or something.
And, I think water in the electronics could easily be one of the functions. There's so much water out there, and of course everything is sealed off with silicone grease, but it only takes one little drop of water and that's it. But right now Malaysia consolidating. They've had the fastest 2 sectors in that last lap, and they've still got a 1.7 second advantage over France.
So let's just update you. It's Malaysia leading, France in second place, Netherlands third. You're riding with Jeroen Bleekemolen in third. New Zealand now in fourth, South Africa in fifth, Italy sixth, then it's Lebanon in seventh, and in the points at the moment at this early stage, Portugal eighth, Australia ninth, and Monaco in 10th, and of course Ireland in the gravel, so they're dropping out of the order, presumably out of the race.
I just thought I saw the back end of the Netherlands car taking an awful sideways step. It may just have been the impression through the spray, but it certainly looked very, very momentary, like it was a big, big off.
Well, he's kept control for the moment as they get that Irish car out of the way under yellows down there as the cars stream past. There's Earl Bamber driving for New Zealand. So far, so good from the youngster, and he made one mistake in practice. He lost control of the car down into the first corner, but no sign of that so far in these wet conditions. On board the race leader, and he is utterly focused. Listen up to the engine as well. Down the gears, of course, the paddle shift, making a sequential gearbox, making things easier in these conditions. Less danger of locking up.
But these conditions are much worse than they were in the sprint race. The fastest lap currently is a 1:48.8. The fastest lap in the sprint race, which went to France, was 3 seconds quicker.
Good driving again from Fawzi, John. Look at this. He's just over the white line a little bit, but nonetheless, he's opened up a fairly useful margin. Now, let's get some news from Ben Costanduris in the pits regarding Team Switzerland. What can you tell us, Ben?
Yeah, he's been sitting in the pits now for about a lap, just trying to find some gears. Just can't get any gears, can't select any. They seem to be there, but they're not selecting, and it looks like he's going to go back into the garage and out of the race. Unfortunate for Neil Yarni, who had such a good run in the first race.
And we've got South Africa off, and who else is that with him? Just trying to see, is it the Lebanese? No, Italian car. The Italian car of Fabio Onidi is off with South Africa. Those guys were running 6th and 7th, so maybe they had a bit of a coming together in the battle for position.
Yeah, looks like it was down to turn 13. That's the part of the racetrack where we saw Earl Bamber make a wonderful move on the host nation, the Netherlands. Let's look and see again. Here they come. Oh, it's just Italy just drove straight into the back of the South Africa car, then clobbered it a second time. So just way misjudging the pace of South Africa. The car, watch again and see, comes down, tries to go down the inside. South Africa takes its natural line, and Italy had nowhere to go in a serious bang between the two nations.